As we think back to your first unit function, the first function that you've ever been to, maybe it was an FRG meeting, maybe it was just that barbecue that you went to. Think back about maybe how clueless you were a little bit entering into military life, but the journey of unknowns, the things that you had no idea what was ahead of you in this military journey. We also may remember that person that you meet. You know, that first person, the one that has the spark, the one that gets you instantly, doesn't think you're weird, they really are on the same page that you are, and we remember that as well. And that in turn brings us into our last segment, which is battle buddies. And battle buddies is a term that was coined by the Army when they gave soldiers during basic training so they would have someone to look out for them. Who's your battle? Make sure your battle's straight. And we as spouses have kind of interpreted that into our own lives and have taken it into what we need, not just during deployments, but in this life in general. So meeting a new spouse in the Army, as you guys probably know, is not kind of like the slow simmer of a crock pot. It's definitely more like an Instapot. It's fast, it's hot, it's ready to go, and you usually get tested pretty quickly. So I kind of started thinking about how we could measure our lives as military spouses. And when we meet people, we kind of measure them in dog years. It kind of sounds bad, but it's a little bit true. If you know somebody for 1 month, that's like knowing them for almost 7 months. So that friend that you made in June, by December, you've already known them 42 months. And I think that kind of sums up how fast we have to actually get to know people and that we have to trust people. Which leads me into the first truth about finding a battle buddy. The first thing that we have to realize is that we're looking for someone to maybe balance us, but what we forget to realize is that we are something to somebody else. That first chance meeting at the commissary or whatever it might be, that could actually lead to a lifelong of friendship. And we have to be aware that we influence other people just like we're looking for that other person. And that leads me into the second truth that I'd like to talk about, and that is that battle buddies come in different seasons. We have different seasons of people in our lives. We have different seasons of joy, of grief, of hard times. And sometimes you meet a person when you aren't supposed to be in that season. For example, how many of you are here at the War College? Raise your hand if you're here at the War College. It's all of you. At the War College, they told us, hey, 10 months, you can do it. It's a time of respite and a time of, calmness and, just having fun, hanging with your hubby, which is a little too much hang time at times, but it is what it is. So you think you're going to a place like this, you don't need a battle buddy. You don't need, anybody to hold you up. This is easy. But for someone like me, this was somewhere where I actually did need a battle buddy. And she's sitting right there. Her name, don't cry. Her name is Joelle. And so I wanted to bring her in today as part of the intro because she is someone who's very important to me. And the only way out's in a body bag, so we're together forever, so good luck. But sometimes you don't think you're going to need somebody in that season, and you do. And that leads me into what all these ladies here are doing here on stage today, and that is they came to talk about their battle buddies, which I'm so grateful for. The one thing we did is we sat down and we interviewed, and we talked a little bit about like the different types of battle buddies. And over the years, and interviewing people and talking to people, I've kind of come up with a list of 10 types of battle buddies. I'm going to briefly go over them. If you feel like your battle buddy is one of these, you can raise their picture or say, yeah, I get that. And not only do we have all these different types, we sometimes gravitate towards certain types, and we are certain types as well. The first one is the drill sergeant. Does anybody have a drill sergeant in their midst over here? Okay, the drill sergeant is that type of battle buddy that gets you to the gym, keeps you straight on the diet, tells you apply for that job, does all the things that maybe you don't want to hear. My gym drill sergeant is sitting right there also. I also have one of those as well, Kristen. So we need these. They make sure you don't wear sweats to the commissary. They tell you all those things that you're supposed to not do, and they have no problem doing it. The next one is the Alexa. I don't know if everybody knows, Alexa, where's my socks or whatever. But almost everybody has a battle buddy that knows the answer to everything. They can tell you about the TRICARE changes. They can tell you how many hours you can leave your kids unsupervised without the MPs coming, all sorts of those kind of things. So that is actually a very important battle buddy to have as well. The third one is a spiritual guru. This might be a person who knows how to fill your cup up, whether it's a yoga class or just some type of inspirational quote on your windshield, whatever it might be. This person is someone that you need to go to whenever you need that, that little boost, self-care. Number 4, I kind of feel like I am, and that's the Lorelai Gilmore battle buddy. And if you watch Gilmore Girls, and that's one of my favorite shows, she's always there ready to have a cup of coffee and to do some chatter. It can be incessant chatter, or it can be really serious chatter. But either way, the chatter is without judgment. And I think that's why it's really important to have a battle buddy, kind of like a Lorelai Gilmore. Number 5, I'm not really this one, but I would be this one for anybody, the Mary Poppins battle buddy. You know, when you're ready to sell your kids on eBay and you're just done with them, and this person comes in and takes them and gives you a little bit of a respite. So I'm more of the teenage one, so I'll take teenagers. The TED Talker battle buddy, this is somebody, number 6, this is somebody that maybe you need to be talked into something or you have an idea and you want to run with it. And this person's just ready to go for you, just ready to show you how to make your dream happen or give you some grit that you need to get through it. So if you have one of those, very important. The last 3 are kind of a little bit superficial, but I feel they play a role and they're very important before I get into the reason why we're all here. Number 7 is the Real Housewife BB, and this came to me because so many people watch the Real Housewife shows. Raise your hand if you watch a Real Housewife show. Okay, yeah. So I asked somebody, why do you watch this show? And they said, well, it's escape from reality. I don't have to think about anything serious. It's just, kind of my go-to. So this kind of got into my head, like, these are the people that we need maybe when we want to go shopping or just get a manicure or do whatever. Just, you need an escape from kind of reality life. Number 8 is a little controversial, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. It's called the Fat Amy Battle Buddy. And anybody who's seen Pitch Perfect knows that you need a Fat Amy in your life. You need somebody who's going to organize the party. Somebody who's going to say, you know what, this isn't enough. We need to laugh a little bit more. I'll give you 25 ways to laugh. So hopefully, I hope all of you have one of these in your life. And if you need one, I've got a few. Number 9, the Netflix and chill battle buddy. That's someone who comes over with milk duds and just lets you binge watch whatever you want. Never says no when they look at you and say, one more? You're like, yeah, one more. Let's go. So that is also a battle buddy that you might have come across during your time. So all of these 9, they get wrapped up into number 10, which is what we like to call the break glass battle buddy. And that battle buddy is the one that you can see all these ladies up here have on their lap. And that is somebody who is just essential for your life. That is somebody who you break glass and you take them out, and there's no one else that can do that job. And so I find it amazing that these 9 women are sitting up here today and going to talk about that with y'all. So without further ado, give them a round of applause and we'll get started. All right. Okay, let's start with you, Amy, and let's have you go around and just introduce your battle buddy.
I'm glad to go first because I will most likely cry. So this is Sarah Costello to people. To me, she's Sarah Sue, and most of the time I call her Sis. Let's see. The way we met was through, friend dating. My husband came home, and he worked in the S2 shop and said, hey, listen, I've met this guy. I want to go out to dinner with him and his wife. And I was like, oh, no, not this again. But then I got Sarah. So she's wonderful. She is, she's very real with me, and she's very opposite of what I am. I can tend to have really great ideas, but then don't know exactly how to make that all work. But she is very realistic, and she can tell me like it is at any time and call me on it. It is a safe place for me. She is absolutely a necessary person in my life.
Oh, that's amazing. Thanks, Amy. Okay, so you go ahead. Since Amy started us on a good roll, why don't you explain who your battle buddy is and how you met them?
Okay. My battle buddy is Sophia Ortiz, and she's more like a sister to me than a battle buddy because she truly is everything to me. I met Sophia in '97, my husband's first assignment as a platoon leader, and she was one of his soldiers. And they were preparing to go to the field, and her family care plan fell through. So he called and said, hey, can you help the soldier out? And ever since then, we have been 2 peas in a pod. One of their deployments, she had an accident and needed to come back home after they patched her up. And she stayed with me for about 2-3 months. And she's very much a mother hen like I am. Mm-hmm. We probably can't live together ever again. But her kids call me Mama Sean. We are that close. And she was the one that Chris and I had decided that if something should happen to us at the same time, that she would be the one to take our kids. We're extremely, extremely tight. She tells me like it is. She's also my safe place. I can tell her absolutely everything. There's no judgment there. just love her.
That's awesome.
All right, my battle buddy is Elizabeth Lacey Garcia. And we met because we had kids about the same age. We were just at a barbecue, and you get ostracized a little bit when you have to go nurse. So there was another person on the couch in the other room, and there she was. So we kind of bonded over that. We're nursing our little ones, and we had kiddos the same age and got stationed together a few times. And she's just been there for some awesome highs and some terrible lows for me. So I'm sure we'll talk about her more.
I got one. I got the mic.
Yeah, everybody likes it.
I'm
We're
like,
all
I
having
got the
a chance
mic.
to do that.
Yep. My battle buddy is Brooke Malott, and I was very fortunate. I know it doesn't happen often, but her husband was command sergeant major at the same time that my husband was in battalion command. And one of the first things that I can remember, the very first thing she said to me was, we were standing in the receiving line at the reception and doing formal things. And I remember seeing her going through, never met her, hadn't met her yet, seeing her going through and thinking, oh, she looks really nice. One of the spouses comes up and says, you ladies get together. I'm going to take a picture. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. And so I take a picture, and the lady says, you girls have sexy legs. And we were like, and I looked at her, and she's like, you'll get used to it. And then I'm thinking to myself, all right. I was like, but she's been there for me. And we actually, our paths had a chance to cross back again this last time. And so it was good being in the same location with her once again for another year. So it's been great.
That's awesome. And when I did the interviews with all of you, actually, Christy's buddy Brooke FaceTimed in, so it was kind of fun. So she was in the cafe with us, and we got to have that interaction, and so it was really nice. Yeah. Amy?
Okay, my battle buddy is Kelly Wagner, and we met at the PCC course at Fort Leavenworth, and thankfully for the name tags where they tell you exactly where you're going, we immediately linked up and knew we were heading to Italy. So it was important to meet her right then, and that was her second time in Italy. So I was drawn to her because she definitely had some knowledge on the area, and little did I know we were going to be on an adventure for the next 2 years. That would be amazing.
So I have to be a little bit different. I have two battle buddies to talk about today. Dyla Cole and Jennifer Rayburn. We all met in Korea. Our husbands were battalion commanders in the same brigade together. And while sometimes that can be a competitive thing, for the three of us, it wasn't. And luckily for our husbands also, it wasn't. They scooped me up the second I landed in that country when my husband ran away to go do Army things. And I just felt like I got a big hug from them every day for the next year, and we had just a year together, but it goes to the testament that you can make lifelong friends in a really short amount of time.
Hi, my battle buddy is Jennifer Carroll. We call her Jen, and I met her in the fall of 2007 at school pickup. Our kids went to the same elementary school, and she's like, where'd you get your hair done? And so that's kind of how it started, and it was slow. We reconnected in 2010, and the rest is history. She's my person, and she's honest, and she's a safe place. Oh.
My battle buddy is Ashley Williams. We met at Hurlburt Field, Florida, many, many years ago. We weren't really friends then. We just knew each other sort of as acquaintances. And then when we went back, she was still there. And I didn't know anybody that was left there. So I reached out to her, and we started a friendship. And I think it became really important and special to me when I had to reach out to her because I needed special help for my daughter. And so we sort of had that connection between the two of us, and she's really special.
I'm sure, and she feels the same way about you as well, so it's really nice. Trace? Gotta get her off the hook here.
I know, right? I'm Tracy Whitfield, and my battle buddy is Sonia Santiago. We met when I was in the 7th grade, which was, strangely enough, just a few years ago. No, I'm just kidding. We met in the 7th grade, and it's like our paths were meant to cross. Our grandparents were friends. Our parents were friends. But we never met until we got in the 7th grade. So this is one girl who is ride or die. We don't talk every day, but when we do talk, it's like we have been talking like every second of the day. She is my go-to. I am her go-to. I am her daughter's godmother. And so it's just been really great to have a friend like that that gives me the push that I need. And she also is the one that, I can just go to for anything. And she's not judgmental. She's the first one that told me that not everyone is going to like me. So that really, gave me some courage.
So first of all, meeting all your battles in that way, that's they are a little bit unique and a little bit different. So when you guys actually move to a new duty station, do you go looking for the battles, or how do you actually, how do you determine who is your battle? Like, what in your head kind of meets that for you? Anybody have something for that?
I mean, I think you can't like specify a way to go and find someone. At least that's my opinion. But I kind of go to all the social events and talk to somebody. Sometimes I make little weird jokes, and if people laugh, I'm like, oh, maybe she'll like me. Just kind of test out different personalities of different people and see, what works. Sometimes, there might be an emergency or crisis and somebody steps right in, and it might not be the person you expected, and sometimes you form relationships that way.
I have a girlfriend that says in the first couple minutes, she'll drop a curse word and talk about day drinking, and depends on how the person reacts, and she'll know then if they're her peeps or not. And I'm not telling you which way she falls on that question.
It's a mystery.
I usually end up finding some of the most amazing parents of kids my children who have met. So like usually I try to get my kids settled in first and get them to know people that live in our neighborhood or at the school. And then usually their parents are just as incredible as their children.
It's kind of dependent on my season of life too, because when my kids were in preschoolers, they were preschooler in MOPS, a lot of my friends and my battle buddies there came from that area. So it kind of just depends on your season, I think, too.
And I will just add to that is I believe that people are put in your life for a reason at each time, and so we all have several people who we needed them at that point in time, and that's just I know. When I walk up to somebody or I meet somebody, it's kind of like, oh, I feel that I'm gonna, that you and I will probably be good friends, but I don't know, because then you're like, woo, but then, like, wait a second, you're like, yeah, that's right, woo, you're a lot like me, but maybe not, and, so I think it's just happenstance a lot of times, but I firmly believe they're put there for a reason, so.
That's interesting, because I spoke about in the beginning about having, like I found somebody here at the War College, but I wasn't really needing one. I knew a lot of people who were already here, and sometimes that's just when it happens. So is anybody else here at the War College, you thought you'd be here 10 months, actually found a battle buddy or somebody that you thought filled one of the roles?
I did.
You did?
And it turned out to be my next door neighbor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the strange thing is we never see each other until we go out to things. But no, really. But I mean, we're there for each other. I remember the night, I will never forget it, December the 12th, 2017. It was very windy and cold. And we were walking back from Bible study, and I know that I probably would have just been found the next morning had she not been there with me. That's how bad it was, and so I had to let her know, thank you. Thank you for coming with me.
Great.
I just happened to be sitting next to mine.
Oh, you just met while you were here?
And so my drill sergeant battle buddy was already here, Miss Kristen Sextovich. Shout out. So I already had her here. So I knew that, no matter what, I still had, a safe place. But during one of the welcome things that they had here, my husband introduced me to Amy's husband. So we're talking, and I came here, already feeling a certain kind of way, and really didn't plan to go out and meet a lot of people, honestly. And Amy and I talked, and she is so much like me. It's scary.
We're a lot alike.
She's my twin. So I spent the next couple of weeks, asking Chris, about her and her husband, and I called her NC. Yes,
I think you might be dating over here.
She's my NC State.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
It's funny because I did the same thing. I was like, have you seen Chris anymore at the gym? Have you asked about his wife? How's his wife? And because we hadn't exchanged numbers then, but yes.
Well, it's funny. Sometimes our husbands can be our way in at each duty station. And when I've interviewed a lot of you, have said, "Well, my husband said we're going to fix me up with this couple," and you get irritated about it. But sometimes they do know what they're talking about.
Matt's been pretty good at it. I have to give him props on that.
And I think was it Amy? Was it you that also made a battle buddy here that you weren't expected? Or?
Yes, yes. So I did not anticipate. I knew a lot of people coming back in here that I had met in years past. I wasn't anticipating, hooking up really closely with any new battle buddy, but I did, through volunteering, meet one of the international fellow spouses, and her name is Yana, and she is so incredibly insightful, and after volunteering with her and spending more time with her, she has this uncanny ability to be able to lead you down like a new path to realize your potential. So I think even when I felt like, okay, I'm grown, I know what I'm doing, I'm good, she has opened up a whole new door for me. And I think it's incredible. And I've watched her connect with so many people here and do the same thing.
That's amazing. She's kind of like a guru/TED talker at the same time. So yeah, that's great. Anybody else since you've been here?
I think I've been fortunate enough at each duty station to meet at least 2 or 3 of these people. But I think in this life, you kind of have to, because otherwise it can get really lonely. I mean, every duty station you go to, you have to put yourself out there. You have to be vulnerable. And, quite frankly, for people like me that are a little introverted, you have to be brave and you have to be courageous and put yourself out there and meet, new people. So I think it's given me at least an opportunity to meet, 2 or 3 of these special people at each duty station.
That's great. I'm going to shift gears just a little bit, but I would want to know too. So, I listened to a lot of y'all talk about, and what we wrote about in the resource guide is that you look for people who balance you. So, the yin to your yang, so to speak. So, what is it about your battle buddy? And not everybody has to speak if they don't want to, but if there's something about your battle buddy that drew you specifically, to them because it's a quality or something that you're lacking. Maybe you're looking for something in somebody. Does anybody have something like that?
No, I have the opposite. Mine, we amplify each other. Yeah, so it's like we're on steroids then. I don't know. It's fun for us. I don't know about everyone else, but yeah.
So I would say with the 3 of us in this photo, we had a really amazing balance. Jenny is really passionate and she gets super fired up about stuff. And I'm kind of like, oh, well, then maybe I guess I should get fired up because I'm just chilling over here. And Dyla put a personal touch on everything when we were just trying to efficiently get things done. And so between the 3 of us, it was this really nice balance. And we really found a way to kind of bring out the best in each other, which was also
great. Yeah. Anybody else? Becky?
I'm with Meredith. Jen and I are like the same person. We finish each other's sentences. And I mean, even one of our spouse friends in the same unit called her Snooky because she's from New Jersey and I was Southern Snooky. And we're just we're just justice seekers. And, when we see somebody being left out, we bring them into the circle or whatever. And, we're like the same person. We love it.
Me too. Love it. When your husband also during your interview said that that anybody who tries to stand in the 2 of yours way, just look out, just get out of the way. So
yes, Jen's husband Chad, they're now in Korea, said, I would never want to be the person that tries to get between you and I won't even get between you and Becky. So, and then my husband, because she's in Korea and we try to talk as much as we can, calls it coffee and cocktails because one of us is having coffee while the other one's having a cocktail. So, even if we're getting ready for dinner, Jen's calling. Okay, just Maggie, check your blood. I've got to go. And so we just talk.
and I noticed that a lot of you talk about like how you're still in touch. I mean, obviously Christy's battle buddy was in the interview with us all the way from Germany, which was great. But does anybody else have a way of keeping in touch with their battle buddy still if they're not stationed here with them?
I know for Sophia and I, we don't, honestly, we don't talk every single day. I can't handle high maintenance friendships, and that's why she works perfect for me, because we can go 2-3 months, and yeah, we'll send a text or two, but we can go 2 to 3 months without speaking to each other on the phone, and then pick back up. Or I'm very emotional, so if I call her and I'm on level 10, I don't have to go back and explain the past 2 months of my life. I can just, this is where I am right now, and this is what I need to talk to you about, type thing. So.
My girlfriend Elizabeth right now has a job where every Wednesday she goes off site and has a longer commute. And so she puts her hands-free phone on and will call me. She doesn't do that, I don't think, but I really wish she would. So, but yeah, so every Wednesday we have carved out time to chat in addition to our texts and stuff like that.
Anybody else have a different way? Because I mean, FaceTime social media has really helped us out. But anybody have an exact date that they keep every month or every week?
Well, we do the normal things, the text, but it can go a bit between calling because we both are pretty busy, and they're out of the Army now. So, but one thing that we try to do every summer is get together. So either we're PCSing or they're moving or they're coming across here. So like for spring break, they're coming, and our kids will go to Boy Scout camp together, and we keep that connection as a foursome or there's 8 of us now. It started out as 4, now there's 8. With the kids and the husbands, and so we keep that connection.
That's an interesting point too, because Jennifer French mentioned that not only is your battle buddy, your battle buddy, but now you've extended it to the family. So your families vacation together and they do things like that.
Yes, that's one of the most special things I think about our families is that our kids get along, our husbands get along, everyone gets along. So it's really nice when we're all together and we can all laugh and have fun and have a good time, as families as well.
Has anybody else made their battles into a whole family?
Well, it's just easy. Like when they're here, it's easy. And we've had times where we've lived together in the same house when one's PCSing or the other one is for a month. And it's still just easy. I know if she's at home, my kids are fine. And they look at her just like another mom. And you just don't have to work as hard like when they're around. It's awesome.
Yes, Jen and I try to meet every summer or fall for a yearly trip, and our kids are the same age bracket, but then she had a whoopsie baby on R&R. And so I've known Callie since she was an infant, and so I'm kind of like her second mom because, we would go to Target every day or H-E-B or, the Warrior Way commissary or just trying on clothes because her husband's coming home for R&R. And I'm like, okay, Callie, let's go get a pretzel and let your mom try on these jeans, but as families, we've gone to different weekend places and that sort of thing. So it definitely helps when everyone gets along.
And I would just like to add that, so Brooke, she has older children, and so she's a grandma, but isn't she like, she's a hot-looking grandma. But anyway, but she, her grandkids have, my daughter and my son are like, kind of like their big siblings, big brother, big sister. And so, that's been neat too when we travel with them or we were in Europe with them for the year. So their grandkids would come over and I think that's neat too because it's cross-generational, they're down and that's just kind of a neat thing for my kids to have littler siblings, so to speak.
You guys have some amazing battle buddies. I mean, these stories go across the board and I think that's important. And it's nice that we get as a military to make your own families, which is kind of sounds like what you've done. I want to move into a little bit different of a question, and it's kind of like the working mom versus stay-at-home mom topics that can get heated, but it's more of the civilian friends versus military friends. So there's a lot of, times you throw around, so civilians just don't understand, oh, your husband's going on a business trip, well, sorry, mine's gone for a year, type of thing. So do you feel that, and I'm going to start with Julie because I know that we've talked about this topic, but do you feel like that civilians can play a role in our military lives?
For me, they've played a huge role. I'm really lucky to have really great friends from, the military side and from the civilian side. We lived in DC a couple of times, and through my work in DC, I was able to find a group of friends that was, fabulous. And the awesome thing is when we came back to DC, they were still there. We went on vacation together. The men got along. Like, it's kind of magical when you find couple friends, My friend Kate, who lives in DC, she was there for me on I think the saddest day of my life. My husband and I tried to have kids for a really long time. And my last miscarriage, she was the only person who was in town with me. My husband, of course, was training at Fort Leavenworth or somewhere random, and my family wasn't there. And Kate left work. She came home. She dropped everything for me that day on, I think, one of the saddest days of my life. And so and any of those girls would have done that for me. I just happened to be staying in her house. So, so I think it's important. For me, it's nice to have both. It's nice to have people who understand what you're going through and can give you the tips and give you the tricks and say, this is how you should do this. This is how we can handle this. And it's also good to have people who go, oh my God, that's terrible. Like, they're sending you there. Why are you moving there? Like that. And so I like to have both, and I can kind of, get that feeling from both sides. So
I agree. I have a girlfriend from back home in Charlotte, and she and I have remained close, and she has no clue about the military life or anything. But I also think that that's good, because sometimes you just want to step away from this life. So it's nice to FaceTime with her and just talk. There's not, you're not talking about, training or, where we're going next or anything like that. We're just friends, and it's good.
Yeah, I think my civilian battle buddy, that's kind of what I refer to her, from Clarksville, Tennessee, when we were at Fort Campbell. Sweet lady, her youngest child was Miranda's age. So, and then she was with me through my pregnancy with Maggie when Dave was in Afghanistan. And then when he got sent to Iraq and Maggie was only a year old, I was dropping her off at Mommy's Day Out, and I got hit and run over by a lady that was speeding and ran a stop sign. And Tammy was the first one to me. And she always would take Maggie. She took Maggie once the EMS cleared her, went to my house, just took care of Maggie, got Miranda off the bus. Miranda was in kindergarten, and, cleaned my house. I was in the trauma unit. So until family could get there, she basically just took care of my kids and fed them. And we're still good friends. We still, message, and, she's a photographer, so she does my kids' pictures, and we still talk. So.
Anybody else have any civilians?
We're
all still a little weepy on that one.
Yeah, we're still a little weepy on that. I have a really good friend, and when we were at Fort Hood the first time, and we're going back to Fort Hood, and her son is the same age as my son, but I can remember, through the Hood deployment cycle, multiple, one after another, during one of them, I got really sick with the flu, and she literally came for a week solid, picked my son up, picked my daughter up, dropped them at school, her name's Leanne Moore, I will tell you that, but took them to school. There was a group of ladies, but she was the headliner, and she just was a get-her-done type person, and I'm forever grateful for her for that, because if it wasn't for her, then my kids would have been at home in a sick house. So it was good.
I've been really fortunate to I met my first best friend ever in the nursery at church. So she was about 6 months old, and so was I. I'm literally like 15 days older than her. And went to school with her forever. And then I and it was she and then another lady, and we've stayed close all these years. And it's almost like this wonderful constant. Neither of them, I didn't know squat about the Army either. So it was a big learning curve for me, and it was nice to have them as this constant. It was like, does this sound right? Is it? And it's nice to hear them say, like, what'd they do? Huh? How'd you do that?
So it's good for the balance.
It's good for the balance. And they're just, I see them, and they also are the kind of people that I have one more girlfriend from college, and it doesn't take, I don't have to tell them how the whole last 6 months has been. We can pick up and it's fine because they know you as a person. They know you without all the other stuff. So,
Anybody else civilian?
We had moved to a completely civilian neighborhood in Maryland, and I want to say within a week of moving there, I was invited to a first day of school breakfast, and thank goodness I went. The entire neighborhood immediately wanted to know, first of all, about this military family that had moved in, so that was probably why they invited me. But just gave me a taste for, I think, what it would be like if I just lived in a nice little hometown and never moved, because most of the people there, their families live there, their parents live there, their siblings live there, and the kids stay forever. And I think that's the first time. We have 4 children, each born in a different state. All of my kids will now say they're from Maryland. It wasn't about the house or the neighborhood, it was the people. And it's like our hometown now.
Awesome. Got time for one more. Go ahead, Jen.
I have a sorority sister, Amy, who she's one of those people that I can send all those inappropriate things I would never post on Facebook, but she understands. But she's, I mean, even though she's civilian, she's shown a lot of interest in, what my husband's doing in the military over the years. She's come to visit us with her sons. On one occasion, my husband took her sons on the plane that he was flying on at the time, and her son has shown a lot of interest in joining the Air Force. So when when he has questions, she's, is texting me like, what would Aaron say about this or that? But she's a real special person to me as well. And she's, civilian, but she gets it. She gets me. So
That's good. And it's important because otherwise they get their stereotypes about us from movies, or think it's all like a deployment reunion, which we know is like a microcosm of what our life is really like. So it's good. I think it's great to have that balance. We are running out of time, so there's one last thing I would like for y'all to do. And then also at the end, if anybody in the audience would like, Sam's gonna have the camera up here to do a shout out to a battle buddy. And then we'll do that after we're finished. So before we close today, I would like to go around, and we don't have to do an order. Someone can just jump up. But one thing that you would like to say to your battle buddy that's in front of you, something to thank him for, or just something that, you just want him to know.
Okay.
Anyone
I would thank my friend Kelly for being everything I'm not, for her spontaneity and her crazy wild side and her ability to get up and go on a road trip and get lost for hours in the middle of Italy. And then for all of the wonderful parts of her, just her warm spirit and her friendship, her love, and generosity.
I just, we had a joke saying that we were just 2-year BFFs. And so I'd just like to just thank her for being a BFF for life.
Well, Elizabeth has done many things for me. We were battle buddies for a long time, and then I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer for a while, and she took the time to do dozens of things, but one of the most important was, and she probably doesn't think it was significant, but it was the first time I was going to go out in public when I was bald. And I was so scared to walk into the commissary, and I don't know why. I just didn't want to be on display. I just wanted to get my groceries and go. And she drove over and walked in the door, and within 10 seconds, I was like, oh, I'm being dumb, and we're good. But she just did that. Like, hey, if you think it's silly or you think it's important, and that's just something special for someone to put aside everything and know what was important to me and make it important to her. And she has a knack for doing that.
I would like to tell Sophia, I truly can't express to her how much she means to me and how much I love her. I would like to thank her for keeping all my storms or making them calm, because, I've spiraled out plenty of times, and she centers me, and I love her and truly appreciate her for that.
I would like to say to Sonia, girl, I cannot really express just how much you mean to me. You've always been there for me. Gosh, We have been through so much together. You are my go-to, and I just can't thank you enough for that day in the 7th grade, for getting, in my face and letting me know, hey, you need to grow up, basically, and get over yourself. And I appreciate that, and it has stuck with me, so thank you.
Well, I try to tell Sarah this. I don't think I've done it the best job all my life, as long as our friendship, because we've known each other for, golly, it feels, at least 16 years now. I hope she feels as loved as she makes me feel, and as important as she makes me feel. I know that she drops everything for me. She's done it on multiple occasions, and drove 6 hours just because I was at a new duty station by myself alone on my birthday. So if I could ever show her how much she means to me, I hope she understands.
I would just tell all of these special women that I'm lucky enough to have that just thank you for loving me for who I am, and thank you for being my family when my family couldn't be there.
I would just tell Jen how much I love her and for keeping it real and being honest and truthful even when I wasn't ready to hear it. And thank you for being my person. Can't wait to see her.
I would tell Ashley, just thank you for being there, for being present, and for making the effort all of these years.
I'm not really sure I'm going to have a voice here in a minute because, it's kind of just get at you. It's like that line from Jerry Maguire, I'm not going to cry. But today's segment was less about like information that you're passing along to the military spouses and more about like what really makes our life unique and special. And I think this is it. Just the relationships and the things that we get to form and maybe reform and pick up as we go. So thank you very much for being here. And I would like to invite anybody out in the crowd that would like to come up and give a shout out. We'll be here afterward. Thank you very much.
So just a shout out to my first battle buddy was Lisa Jenkins, way back in Germany and then anyway, her, and then Amber McCall and Donna Nall, the three of them were really there when my husband was first deployed and I was having a baby by myself in Germany. And then Amy Cho was another battle buddy at Fort Hood, Texas, that I would like to send shout out to all those ladies who were there for me in different seasons of my life. Thanks.
So I'd like to give a shout out to several battle buddies. First, I'm going to talk about Melissa Flenny, who's in San Antonio, Texas. Thanks for helping me saw a mattress in half so I could get up the stairs in Germany. I don't think I could have done that without you. And the 6-pack of beer really helped, and so that will always be a memory for me. I also like to shout out to Nancy, Joycey, and Mary for being there with me in Fort Hood during probably one of the darkest times that we went through. And then I'd like to shout out to a few ladies. Amy Randazzo, who I've known for 20 years. We happen to be here at the War College together, so shout out to Amy for surviving the Spouse Project with me, definitely. And then there's Kristen Stasevich. She's my personal trainer. I'll give you information afterward. Please don't judge her work on this because she's much better than that. But she actually is my guru. She gets me to the gym and she walks the dog and talks my ear off, and I couldn't do it without her. And then there's JoJo over here, who I gave a shout out earlier, but I'm going to do again. I also met her this year too. So testament that battle buddies don't have to be someone you know for a long time, but it helps. And also, I think Jo would like to give a shout out to someone very special to her heart. EAGLES, Eagles! There you go. Thank you.
I want to give a shout out to Jackie Maldonado and Jennifer Stroh from Colorado Springs, Colorado, both civilian friends. Wonderful game nights. They were wonderful. They helped me through deployment and great times. And also Matina Muniz, wonderful times and love and laughs. So another civilian friend.
I'd like to give a shout out to Susan Raleigh. She got me through my first year-long deployment when my husband went to Iraq. We got through it with Thursday nights at Chili's with margaritas and queso, and I highly recommend that as a source of comfort to anybody needing some.
First, I want to give a shout out to Tiffany Robinson. Thank you for all of the laughs and the fun that we've had together. And then to Jennifer Santos and Kelly Madden for being the two best dance moms I could have ever asked for in Florida, for surviving a couple of deployments with me while we were there, and for just loving me and being great people. Thank you.
So I've had a couple of battle buddies over the course of my military journey, but I'd like to give a special shout out to Ann McBride, who helped me figure out what motherhood was all about and brought me granny panties when I was in the hospital. Thank you. And to Rachel Swan, who was the best battle buddy anyone could ask for when my husband was in battalion command, and who I know will be a battle buddy for life. Thank you.
I would like to give a special shout out to a couple of really good friends, my battle buddies, Maria Egan and Christina Carruthers. I love you. To Teresa Fields and Latanya McLaughlin, thank you for your friendship. I appreciate it. To Isabella and Danielle, thank you for being such great neighbors and battle buddies to me while we were at Fort Sill together. I love all of you guys.
I have been very fortunate to have amazing battle buddies at every duty station that we've been assigned. I'd like to give a shout out to Tamara Nicole. We were pregnant together during OIF-1. I helped her deliver her baby and decided I didn't want mine to come out that day. But anyway, I'd like to give a shout out to my bestie, Michelle, my Marine spouse, best friend that helped make Oklahoma okay. And then here at the War College, my Fab Five. I love you guys. I think it might be 6 now. But anyway, just every day you guys keep me motivated, and I love you. And I know that our military family is chosen, but I was blessed to have a battle buddy that is also my sister. And now I'll cry because she is the one person that I will answer FaceTime with no makeup, and she knows everything about me, and she still loves me. And I love you, Heather.
I want to give a shout out to my battle buddies around the world. Nomi Stanton, my first and foremost battle buddy who taught me everything I needed to know for the next 21 years. Julie McGahee, Tammy Brown, Kathy Palmer, Gina Denemy, Angie Upton, and all of my Ellicott City friends from all 3 neighborhoods. And also everybody I've met here at the War College. Thank you.